What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Hey, yo.
It is the Hoof Podcast, the Hoof Live, coming at you again for another week. But today we have a very special guest, the homie, my bro, the man, the myth, the legend over at Buffalo Rumblings. Jspence, the mother effing king, is here.
What it be like, man?
It's good, son. How you doing, bro?
Man, I need you to do my intro for my own pod, man. You make me sound you make me sound good, and I'm nowhere near the way you just made me sound. But
no, you definitely are, bro.
Only if we can feel that music, man. You know, every time I listen, I'm like, damn, I love your intro music. It's the best.
Sure.
I know. I was born in the summer. I was like, yeah, dog.
You know, I got a bump with it. You know, my whole thing is having music that makes me feel good. So when you listen to my show, you're going to have some energy every time.
Yeah, look, you know, what's funny is, you know, me and you being homies, you haven't given me permission to use your music, nor any clips that we can use for our own intro music. And so I'm kind of hurt with that. But, you know, I guess that's how you roll, bro. I mean, you're a celebrity over here, you know?
No, to be honest, you know, I don't even talk about that I do music. You know, to be honest, I don't advertise it. People don't know. I got a couple gold albums, man, as a gospel rapper back in the day. So now I just pretty much do a lot of like production. I do some writing for some people, but I don't really push it myself. But if you need music, dog, I got you. I got tracks all day.
Bro, I mean, let's go. I always promote the homies, so you know I'm all about that. But anyways, man, it's glad to have you on. We definitely gonna get into it tonight.
How about them Buffalo?
How about them?
You remember what I said on the show? Do you remember what you said on the show last week after I said what I said about the New England game, huh?
I don't ever remember what I say.
You said
I don't ever
brought up a certain WWE wrestler that you said I sounded like. Because I said we were going to put our foot on their throat and stomp them and keep stomping them. And guess what? That's exactly what we did. We kicked their ass from start to finish. So here you go, Sterling. I got you a Slim Jim so I could snap into it again because we brought it in that game.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hey, save all that smoke. You better save all that smoke. And just so you guys know, you know, like I said, they don't pay me to do this, but I'm drinking on some electric reindeer tonight. Okay, It's still Christmas season over here, bro. So y'all gonna see me sipping on that. Anytime the Bills win, you're gonna see me sipping on a little.
I was worried, man. Before we did this though, and I'm like, "What are you drinking?" And you said that. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like, I was worried. I'm like, "Are you drinking like that?" We're gonna have to, but no, if it's good stuff like that, we're gonna have to try it out, man.
Yeah, no, you know what? I've been on this wine kick. You know, I'm not one of those dudes that'll smell it. I mean, I don't even know, like, what are you smelling? Like, all that shit smells the same to me, bro. But before we even get into the show, man, let's go on and show some love to some of the fans, man. We got John DeMarchi in the house, man. I've never seen you, John. Welcome to the show. He definitely gave us some stuff up here about his excitement, but he says, thank you, Cover One, for all you do, man. It's a privilege as a Bills fan to see all of your team's amazing work. Keep it up, man. 5 games left. And that man's talking about the Super Bowl, so we're going to see.
That's the expectation.
My guy, Brian Bowers, y'all know he was on the show last week, man. He was repping. Brian? That's our homie. That's the homie.
I got to go back and watch that one.
I'm doing my own one over here because I said 38-6 would be the score, and I said stomp them start to finish, which we absolutely did. Shout out to Brian. He got the score dead on. 38-9 was his prediction.
He did.
What it was.
I got to go back and watch that. That's my dude, man. Brian the people.
Oh, yeah. And our own Greg said, hey, Jspence is getting all the love in here, man.
That's OG.
You're getting all the love. You know, your wife is in here, Anthony. She has to watch you, I guess.
Got to spend that quality time, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if we don't mention her, I don't want Anthony to get in trouble.
Imagine she's all day long.
And my guy Liam in here. Hey, we haven't seen you in a hot minute, bro. Good to see you. Anthony just has not missed this year. Actually, Liam, because we haven't seen you, that means you're absolutely wrong because Anthony's wrong most of the time.
Absolutely. Sterling doesn't like to admit it. Sterling doesn't like to admit that I've been more right
all the time.
More than anybody is talking Bills this year. I have them on the head.
Hey, I gotta bring him down. I can't. I gotta.
Fair enough.
Balancing act in the show that we have, so that's how we roll, bro.
Hey, look, Randy Hartman's calling you out over what kind of dollar store hooch is that?
That's what I was worried about too. I was worried, Randy. I was so worried for his liver.
Bro.
Whatever Sterling's doing, it's working, right? Bills are winning.
Exactly.
Keep it going. I got your back.
My buddy Mike Lucas is in the house too here. He says, Buffalo Bills Macho Man. Ooh, I like that idea, brother. I'd do it.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, and you can't call it hooch. Back where I'm from, we call this drink. So, I'm just saying, bro. We call it Drake. We call it Drake. But anyway, man. Anyway, bro. Welcome to the Hoof Podcast, the Hoof Live, man. We are on the Cover One Network. And we are giving it to you every single day of the week, pretty much. We always got something going on, man. But before we continue, for those of you who are just now joining us or have never been on the show, we kind of do things a little bit different. This is more of a, we have topics, a conversation. I don't let the guys see what we're talking about before, so I kind of put them on the spot. Jspence is on the show tonight, so he going to be on the spot. We're going to see how well he adapts to the fire, to the smoke that we bring him. We argue, we laugh. Anthony cries with his champ stamp and so forth. And we just keep it moving, man. That's just how we roll. But are you guys ready for topic number one?
Oh, before you get started, we already got a super chat in the house.
Do we now?
Let's get it.
Super chat will get discussed automatically, as we always say. So thank you, Angus Cons, for this super chat. What might seem like garbage time win for some is a sign of an end of the dynasty for me. That's definitely, this game was huge, no doubt about it. To me, this was like the last check box for the regular season right here. Stomp a mud hole in the Patriots. Done. Sweep the Patriots. That's what we did. We showed them. Now we need to continue to do that for 20 more years to truly pay them back for what they did to us. So that's a lot to ask, obviously, but
I don't think we can actually repay them back. I just think
20 years,
but ass every single time. But Angus, thank you for coming. Hey, and I love that Sunburst guitar you got there. That's pretty dope, man. Let me put in the chat. Let me know what kind of guitar that is, bro. Moving on. So we got topics, man. And before we continue, this is what's popping. We go around the league. We take a few topics from there, and I ask my guys, what's popping? What are your thoughts? We kind of argue. We get into it. This is what we do. This is the Hoof Live, and here we go. First question. Here we go. Did the Skins give up on Dewayne Haskins too early? Washington came out and said that he had been released and he has now cleared waivers, which makes him a free agent. This guy was drafted last year. Did they give up too early on Dewayne Haskins? Spence, we'll start with you. Eric, you'll go next. Anthony, you'll finish.
I would start off by saying no. Dewayne Haskins gave up on Dewayne Haskins too early. I do see a lot of people in the media, Booger McFarland being one of the bigger ones to do it. I'm very outspoken when it comes to certain matters being racially charged or not. This is not a racially charged thing. This kid is in the NFL. It's a professional career. And there's just a certain level of professionalism that you have to carry when you're on this level, when you have this platform. You're a first round draft pick playing for a professional when you're the quarterback. I don't care how you look at it, whether you're good or not, you're the face of that franchise. You have to be a whole different level of professional than you were in college. You might have been able to get away with that in college. It's time for you to grow up and get this check.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah, I agree with that. But from the organization standpoint, you got to cut your losses when you know it's time. And look at the Arizona Cardinals, I think, kind of broke the ice on this. If you know you've got it wrong, cut them, move on, right? The faster you move on, the faster you can recover. And I think that's exactly what the Washington football team's doing. And I give them credit for that.
Let's not forget the biggest factor here. They hired a new coach. This is not his guy. This never was going to be his guy. We all knew the beginning of this year that Dewayne Haskins was like, oh, what are they going to do? Are they even going to play him? Right? Are they even going to give him another shot? They tried to, and you know what? It's no surprise to me at all that they let him go. I don't think this has anything to do with his strip club antics or anything like that. It's football. We knew that this team was more likely to move on from this guy than play him, even if he was good, because he's not the coach's guy. Period. That's what happens when you bring in a new regime.
But Anthony, I don't even think in this case, I agree with you. He's not his guy. That's why he brought in a couple guys to make sure if he didn't work, he would have his guys.
What he wanted,
but the thing is, he was a first round draft pick, and Coach Rivera did everything that you could ask for. If you're Dewayne Haskins and you come into the situation where the coach is not your guy, I'm not your guy, coach. He gave him not just one shot. He gave him a couple shots. And then, it's like, again, even if you're not performing well enough to be on the field and be the guy, at the very least, show up to work and do your job, man. So I agree with both of you from a perspective from the organization. You got to cut your losses, man, like that. And then the thing is, that shows you just how bad, and not as a performer, as a football player, but it just shows you how bad of a fit he was for that organization. Mm-hmm. For an organization to bite the bullet and say, you know what, we'd rather pay you to play for somebody else or play you to sit on the couch. That is, that's how bad the situation was. And it's not about football. People who people get shots in the NFL. If you're drafted, you're pretty good. And coaches will take shots on you to make sure you're EJ Manuel, he burned out here with us. He got another shot, couple shots. Rosen just got another shot.
Example,
Literally, he's in San Fran.
I think there's something to be said when you look at Dewayne Haskins. What Ohio State quarterback has been any good anyway, right?
That's the Michigan guy, not biased at all.
No, in the NFL, look, they have not been good.
I'm not doing it, man.
Michigan at least birthed the GOAT. Okay, you're welcome.
First of all, Joe already yelled at me.
Also, hold on, let me get this out.
Ohio no more.
I know, right? Birth the GOAT. Here we go. Now, Dan Snyder's the one that wanted Dewayne Haskins. The front office, dysfunctional as they are, they did not want Dewayne Haskins. Dan Snyder made them draft him because he's a Washington kid. So, this is what you get in Washington. It's a lot of dysfunction. I agree. I do think that it was time to move on from Dewayne Haskins. It's not a race thing at all. And when you don't perform, and you got one of the fairest coaches, in my opinion, in the NFL, one of the more character guys. We see that with Sean McDermott. He was tutored by Ron Rivera. He shook them of his – he gave – like Spence said, he gave him chance after chance after chance. He just didn't get it done. He didn't take it seriously. Does he have the talent to be good? Maybe. But, it's all about, how much work are you putting in? And I don't.
So that's the question now: is what happens next for Haskins? I mean, is he gonna? I'm sure he will sign on, kind of like Rosen did, right? He's probably gonna become a backup somewhere, or somebody will sign him to the practice squad, and then when somebody needs an emergency quarterback, they'll give him a call. Just like what happened with Rosen. But Haskins is less likely to get that because we've seen kind of what he can do on the field. Rosen never really got a chance. He played with a terrible Dolphins team for 4 games and the Cardinals. But I think, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Haskins if he gets another shot. Probably not as a starter. I don't see that happening. No team is desperate enough to take a shot on him at this point, unless they're so cash strapped that they're like, hey, we'll give you the league minimum to come be our starting quarterback. But I doubt that happens at all.
Spence, what were you going to say?
No, I guess it wasn't. First, I agree with your point, Anthony. It was more so I was just going to quickly say, also, you're acting like Coach Rivera didn't just stop chemotherapy and that he's not, at risk for what we're living in the middle of a pandemic with COVID-19. And you're being irresponsible to people who gave you a shot when they didn't have to. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's not even, that's why I said, like, all of it today, the national media is eating this stuff up for the wrong reasons. And it's like, what are we talking about? Like, seriously, like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. He had his shot and he blew it. And like you said, I didn't even think of that, but you're right. There is a personal aspect of this too. It's
right. He's a team captain.
The coach probably, I could see Rivera sitting down with him and being like, dude, what are you doing? We've given you every chance. And now you're putting everybody at risk. You're putting all of us,
including me. Like, I just beat cancer and you want me to fight COVID? Like,
right.
It's just, come on.
Yeah. So it's a character thing from that sense too. Sure. He probably,
well, it sends the absolute wrong message in the locker room as well. The players have got to be, getting a negative impact from that because he is a team captain. He's been a team captain up until week 14. They took it away from him. What's that look like?
Let's be honest, though. Alex Smith is the team captain.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Look at what he's been through. Come on, dude. Guys are going to rally around that.
But see, that to me, that's even worse. You have Alex Smith in that locker room, and so that's like and we don't have anybody now on our team like this for Josh. But you have somebody who's
proven,
like, just looking like the way everybody looks at him. Like nobody has a negative thing to say about Alex Smith anywhere in the NFL. He's a leader. He's a fighter. He's a warrior. He's this. He's that. You can't learn from Alex Smith, and you think another NFL team is going to take a chance on you? I just don't see it, man. I really do. Yeah. This is like a Jamarcus Russell type deal. Not like I know his. This is how I see it, bro. Like if I see him in the league, I'll make the same bet that Steve made for Haskins.
Hey, listen. I don't know what Dewayne Haskins was drinking, but we do know what Jamarcus Russell was drinking, and he was on that lean like J.R. Smith. That boy was sipping that lean every day, bro. He said that man ain't never seen no film. He ain't never seen no film in his life. No. But hey, whatever. Here we go. Y'all ready for the next one? Jags officially secured the number 1 overall draft pick. We saw the Cleveland Browns lose to the old Jets, which is sad. It's sad. And I know we can kind of turn this into Baker Mayfield too, but I'm happy for the Jags because go ahead and take Trevor Lawrence. We ain't got to worry about him. Okay? We ain't got to worry about it. I think Josh Allen's better than Trevor Lawrence. We don't have to
worry as much. We still get to see him next year in a Jags uniform and not with the Jets and not as a dynasty in our own division. So that's pretty good news for any Bills fan. I mean, the Jets did all they could to have the worst season possible, literally. I mean, they could have had a worse record, which would have helped them, but no, they decided to go for the worst possible scenario where they don't get the generation quarterback coming out and the Jags end up with him. Somebody was going to get him. We knew it was between these two teams all year long, basically. Said it in the offseason too. And we're all happy the Jags end up with him. I think he's still going to be good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he's going to translate well, I think, to the NFL. And there's no reason, at least yet, to believe otherwise. And luckily for us, it'll be in Jacksonville and not in our division. We will get to see him next year, though. So I guess
there's so many people.
I think this is. Go ahead, Spence.
No, go ahead, my man. My bad.
No, I think this is best for both parties, and that includes Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
Let's face it. I think the Jags have more pieces in place to be a better, more successful franchise than the Jets right now. Laviska Shenault looks like a player.
Yeah, Chark, that awesome catch this weekend. Yeah,
they've had some top draft picks the last few years. Juwan Taylor, and they had 2 really good defensive players last year. We'll see how they turn out, but I mean, I think the Jags are onto something here. And now you're getting a generational quarterback. We'll see who the head coach is. But if Brian Daboll goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars,
I mean,
there's something there, right? I don't think you can say that for the Jets team.
I was actually going to bring that up next too. Is if we know Daboll's most likely going to get a head coaching job, and right now that's the job for him. If I were him, that'd be the job that's top of my list right now because, like you said, they've already got a few pieces in place. They're bringing in your generational quarterback. That's what you do. That's what you work with. He can mold that team into what he wants to do. And it's Jacksonville. It's a good place to work and live and everything. I think if I'm Daboll, that's the job I want now. And let's face it, they have to fire their coach, right? I mean, come on, the guy is terrible.
So. Right.
Marone, we know very well, well, what Marone is, and he's done absolutely nothing there to earn.
They've lost 14 games in a row.
Yeah, I mean, come on, he suck.
Well, they suck, and we all know they suck. But
he can't coach his players. That's his job. He literally can't do his job.
No, he cannot. It's rough. It's rough. But let's turn this to the old Baker Mayfield. Now, my guy Jspence down there came up with probably the tweet of the year. He put out the he had a trash bag and he put.
No,
it was a Baker Mayfield jersey.
No, I did not have a trash. No, I had my jersey.
It was a real jersey. It was a real jersey.
Dude, I was waiting like 3 weeks for this jersey. Don't you call my favorite quarterback trash. I value his jersey. That dude's trash. Baker Mayfield is trash, bro.
How did you cut the sleeves out, bro? That's all I want to know.
Yeah. I didn't even waste the time for it. I just threw that joint back out. Like, it's trash.
It's authentic, man. It's got the stamp and everything.
Anybody who watches the show knows I'm a number 1 Baker hater. And last week, everybody was giving me shit saying, oh, Anthony doesn't want to say he had a good game. And what did I say? Yeah, he had a good game. Great. He had one good game, two maybe good games, but watch all the games during the year, and you'll see that he's hurt his team more than he's helped. And now look at this game. And this is the comparison I make. What would have happened if Josh Allen was in that game instead of Baker? You don't think Josh Allen would have done a better fucking job, job than
because
Baker did? Baker shit the bed. He sucks, man. I'm telling you.
His first season, he did better than Baker. In the first season, Josh Allen was lining up with the same type of receivers. I know they were named, but he had Kelvin Benjamin, Zay Jones, and whoever all this stuff. Joe Funny. He had all these people that we throw into, and you knew that we didn't have receivers. We had nothing. I think we averaged the least amount of separations for receivers in that year. So yet Sunday, I'm looking at it like, okay, Baker is without his receivers, right? He's going up against the 1-13 New York Football Jets. You are not supposed to lose that game as the number 1 overall pick. With two great running backs in your backfield and two, like you just don't do it. You don't do it.
He couldn't even hand the ball off right.
Trash. Yeah. And then all the comparisons and the way they talked about this dude Baker from the time he was drafted. Yeah, he had a good rookie season. I'll give him that. I'm not taking anything away from what he did. But the dude sitting here, you got 2 number 1 receivers. 2 number 1 receivers. You got 2 number 1 tight ends. You got 2 number 1 running backs. And you didn't make the playoffs? Could you imagine if Josh Allen had that offense last season and he didn't make the damn playoffs? Could you imagine how they would be talking about my quarterback?
That's what I mean. Everybody makes it for this guy, and I freaking hate it because he doesn't deserve it. You were literally handed anything a quarterback could ask for last year, and you blew it. And now look at this year. Your life now depends on a game against the Steelers' backups because they said they're not going to start Ben Roethlisberger and their starters, still might blow it. So,
hey, Eric, what you got, dog? What you got on Baker, bro?
My thing with Baker, I just don't like the body language, man. The best example from the game is 4th and 1, quarterback sneak, Baker goes in, clearly doesn't get it, right? Gets thrown to the ground from behind. It kind of looked like he didn't try, but immediately he knew he didn't get it either, right? But then immediately starts complaining to the refs, throwing his hands up. No, I got it. I should have got it, right? And that's the stuff that kills me with Baker. If Josh did that, he maybe try one time, but then walk off the field, right? And that's the difference for me.
I watched Baker in college, and I'm on the record that when the Josh Allen pick was made, I just wanted us to get the guy that was right for the team. I never said I hated Allen, never said I loved Allen when he was drafted. I said I just wanted to get the right guy, and I did not want Baker Mayfield under any circumstances whatsoever. I was like, no, hell no, I don't want this guy. Cross him off the list. Do not draft him, please.
Hey, but he dances.
Well, I mean, I didn't think he'd go one, but
Baker can dance.
Well, none of us thought he would go one.
Yeah. I wanted the Bills to draft Baker. I'll admit that. I did. No, I'm just say the way I wanted it was either going to be Lamar or Baker. That's who I wanted. Now, I am so very happy that the Cleveland Browns, being the poverty organization that they are, chose to take him at 1 overall. Because if we would have gotten Baker Mayfield in Buffalo, I would have been extremely disappointed with this team. I would have been extremely disappointed with this team.
Same thing. We're all hyped for this quarterback who just continues to let us down, flash in the pan, very Fitzpatrick-esque, right? Like, oh yeah, look, he's good. Oh no, he's not. Oh, maybe he's good. Oh no, he's not. Like,
let me. So Baker Mayfield, I think he threw the ball 52, 53 times. 36 of those passes were to running backs and tight ends. I know he didn't have any wide receivers, but I think the blame needs to go on Baker. I think the blame needs to go on the offensive coordinator as well. You got one of the best rushing attacks in the league. You got one of the top 5 offensive lines in the league, and you didn't produce against Jets. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah. Big problem. Get away from the run. They should have kept running the football.
The Browns defense. What's their excuse? They had every player they got.
The 4 of us can go out there and beat the Jets right now, man.
Exactly.
Put me at wide receiver, dog.
Yeah, that's a bit much. No, that's a stretch. I'm tripping today. That's a stretch. But my point. You get the point.
They didn't have it on offense. Great. Oh, we didn't have our receivers. We have an excuse. Their defense has no excuse. They gave up huge plays to the worst team in football.
Yo, I'm over
it.
Garbage.
I'm telling you, man, that was the real Baker coming back at it. So, I mean, bring him on in the playoffs, baby. I've been on record this whole time.
This week. Baker's got a huge game.
We'll see. Mason Rudolph, this is his revenge game with Myles Garrett. So we're going to see. We're going to see what Baker Mayfield's made of.
Don't sleep on that, though. He played a full season. Or not full, but he was a starter. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was a starter in the league. It's not like you're getting a guy coming off the practice squad to come in there and play against Cleveland. He actually won games in the NFL last year.
Yeah,
so y'all can think about Baker, or y'all can think Cleveland just got this in the bag. Cleveland got to show up.
Yeah, they do.
Especially after this game against the Jets.
Baker has to show up. Not even Cleveland. If you want to be that franchise quarterback, you got to produce. And he had a chance. He had a chance to give Cleveland something that they haven't had in a long time. And that was a playoff berth. And he kind of
10 wins, and you might be blowing it. I mean, that was the Jets. Yeah. They was handed on a silver platter.
Yes. All right. So does Alvin Kamara's 6 touchdown performance make him the NFL's best back? Eric, we'll start with you. Spence, we'll go with you next, and then Anthony will end with you. Go ahead.
This is definitely a great performance. 6 touchdowns in one game. I mean, that's the first time it's happened since, I think, 65, right? Time before that was 1957. But I'm going to say no, because there's still 2 running backs with more yardage, all scrimmage yards, and that's Dalvin Cook and that's Derrick Henry. And if those guys aren't in the league, I put Kamara third, absolutely, but I don't think he's better than Derrick Henry right now.
Okay. Wow. That's fair.
That is fair, especially if you're going off of like stats and whatever for the year. And I know, like he said, the 6 touchdown game, I'm not even going off of the stats for the year. I personally, first, those are 2 great, Dalvin Cook, Henry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going Christian McCaffrey. Like, in my mind, I know he's injured this year. He faced a very big – he is the entire offense when he's healthy for the Panthers. And I don't think that there's anybody in the league, including Alvin Kamara. He's close, but I don't think there's anybody who's as dynamic as Christian McCaffrey. I think that dude, man, if we could get a Christian McCaffrey on the Bills, or like somebody built like that
on a rookie deal,
that'd
be nice. That'd be nice.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys said is on point, but right now in 2020, we had this conversation on the podcast before. If we could have a guy, it'd probably be Kamara would be the first one we'd ask for. I love Dalvin Cook. The guy is a beast. I said that, if they had won more games, he would have been in the conversation of the MVP as well, because he was the one carrying that team, although Minnesota found multiple ways to lose and get themselves out of it. But still, he's a beast. Definitely one of the best in the game. But Kamara, he proved it on the field. I mean, he's taking that team while it's recovering from, having Drew Brees with broken ribs and getting hurt and missing games. He's been the guy there to continue this team on its winning ways and not allow them to skip a beat. They lost 1 game without Brees, and that allowed them to be in the position they are now, which is still vying for the number 1 seed. If they win and Green Bay loses, not likely to happen. Green Bay should win it. I mean, they're a beast of a team, and Kamara is one of the best backs in football. We would certainly love for him to be a Buffalo Bill.
Absolutely.
Any one of those guys.
Absolutely.
I think Christian McCaffrey is in a league of his own in terms of that's a guy who touches the ball every play no matter what. Yeah. You pass it to him, you hand it off to him, you kick it to him, whatever you got to do, you put the ball in his hands. But Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook are definitely not.
Hold on. Before I don't want to steal the smoke, but I'm going to. Whoever this is, calling me Big Daddy. Look, that name is only reserved for the elect. Okay, you can call me Big Daddy all you want. I mean, I'll be your Big Daddy, I guess.
Squirrels.
Your wife might want to know who that is.
I had to do it.
Lucky your wife's not on here. Kathy's going to call your wife and be like, who's this?
From now on, refer to me as Big D, okay? I had to do it. Azor Ahai. What's up,
got to put it on a jersey.
Whoever that is. Big Daddy. Big D, right there, bro.
That's going to be your new name.
Big D.
You got to get you a logo,
Not
man.
Sterls for the girls.
Yeah, no, I'm not personally. I can't call you that because I would never call a grown man. You go be Sterls for the girls, but we go get you some shirts. We go get you some merchandise.
Can we start a campaign, Big Daddy?
Yeah, you got that, but that's gonna be one I can't support. I ain't gonna wear them. I got you.
I thought we were homies. I thought we were fam, dog. I mean,
you gotta start with the Twitter handle. Go ahead and change it over.
Yeah, change your Twitter handle right
Great idea. I'm Big Daddy for the remainder of the year. Refer to me as Big D. That's all. I don't want Big Daddy. I want Big D. All right.
I can't, man.
Okay. Moving right along. Moving right along. This show is always entertaining. And for those of you, just then, we talk shit. We have fun. This is the Hoof Live. We are part of the Cover One Network, bringing it to you. We do have Jspence in the house with us, kicking it with us tonight. And always, we got Anthony and Eric. So, moving right along, fellas. As far as Alvin Kamara being the best back in the NFL, I mean, I would take him. I would take him in a heartbeat. Christian McCaffrey is another one. Derrick Henry. I would just love for the Bills to have a game-changing back, a game-changing talent other than Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs on offense. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But moving right along here, I want to go to the next one. Now, this is we're going to switch it up a little bit. As you guys know, those of you who watch the show, this is the Inside Slant. This is where we talk all Bills all day, every day. We get the latest, the hot takes from my guys that are on the show, Eric, Anthony, and Jspence. We're going to get the hottest takes. This is the Inside Slant, and here we go. First topic up, fellas. We'll start with Anthony. We'll go to Jspence, and we'll end with Eric. Bills playoff wins over under. What do you have, sir?
Oh, we got to win them all. So hopefully it's 4 over under.
I knew you were going to say that.
You got it. At this point, what is the expectation? It's no longer in the preseason. I think most Bills fans would have said, we want 1. We must win 1. So in that case, the over under would be 2 and you'd pick the under, or if it's 1, you'd hope for the over. But in this point, it's way beyond that. If we win 1 game and we lose in the second round to a team we should beat, not named Kansas City, if we're the 2 seed, that's a disappointment. That's a disappointment, period. Now you face Kansas City. We're a better team than them. Did you watch the Chiefs play this week? The Chiefs have consistently, over the last 3 weeks, looked worse and worse and worse. They are trending in the wrong direction going into the playoffs. The Bills have done nothing but trend in the right direction. Now, if the Bills lose to the Chiefs, would people be surprised? Maybe not, because the Chiefs are still the number 1 seed. But right now, nobody anywhere is saying that the Chiefs are playing better football than the Buffalo Bills, because that's ignorance. Watch the games. That's just not true, period. They might be the better team if you think so, great. But right now, they are not playing better football. And so, to me, that means you must win all of those matchups. And no matter who comes out of the NFC, I'm sorry, Green Bay, the Saints, the Seahawks, whoever it may be, the Bills are better than that team too, and we'll beat them too. So I'm going all the way. It's 4, and I'm taking the over. So,
in the words of Brother Bill, Bills by a billion, right?
Bills by a billion.
Bills by a billion.
Yo, that's my dude. I love Brother Bill, man. That's
hilarious, bro.
Did you see him punting the Dunkin' Donuts cup?
Yo, the dude is hilarious, man.
Yes, we got to have him.
He's having a blast for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still tripping about the time he drove to Pittsburgh to buy lunch just to
buy lunch.
Yo, but Anthony, I love you, man. I'm going with you with the 4, because I've been saying it all season. No, I've been saying it all season though. I predicted prior to the season Bills over Seattle. Now I don't think it's going to be Seattle anymore. I do think it's going to be Green Bay. However, I'm worried. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, man, and I get that it's it's our year. Listen, neither does Josh Allen. I'm just saying. Okay, all right, and I'm not debating that. I would very much like to be a Super Bowl champion fan this year, and I believe that can happen. I think it's a real possibility. But wait, because you talking kind of
Hold on, Anthony. Hold on.
I was just going to say offense, defense. Just realistically, in your point of view, who's better on offense, Green Bay or the Bills?
Well, no, the Bills.
Close, right? Okay, but who's better on defense?
The Bills.
Not even a question. Yeah,
but see, when you ask that question, you're making it seem like the matchups are the only thing that matters. You're forgetting that they have a Hall of Fame quarterback who is to this date. And I know we have Patrick Mahomes in the league now, and now we have Josh Allen in Buffalo, and we have Tom Brady, and we had all these people. I have never seen a person play the position of quarterback better than Aaron Rodgers. And Green Bay has wasted his career. He is the most accurate. He is the most dynamic. He is the most on point. He has the best arm. Aaron Rodgers is legit. Like he's been big time since he came into the league. Now, back to the AFC before we even get to see him in the Super Bowl. You can't be talking like that about Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champions. Right. In order to be the man, you got to beat them. Like, so let's like with respect. Like, I feel like we can go in there and do some things, but just woosah.
What did I say? I said they. You could say they're still the better team. I'm okay with that. If you have them at 1 and the Bills at 2 in your overall NFL rankings, that's great. I can get down with that. I'm fine with that. But to say right now that the Chiefs are playing better football than the Buffalo Bills is wrong. Period. There's no middle ground.
We're talking about playoffs.
So go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say, Eric. That's the
exactly.
Let me finish the last point.
I still agree. We do have to beat them. We have to beat them. But the question then is, do you expect that if we played them in the playoffs, do you expect the Bills to win? And my answer was yes. That's why I said 4.
And that's dope. Like, my expectation and my hope will be that they would win as well. But the thing is, I would never sit here if I did a show and people were asking me, well, Spence, are you going to bet on the Bills? I'm going to go with who you tell me to bet on. I would never tell people to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I would never tell anybody to bet against Aaron Rodgers.
That's the line.
So you guys know me, though. No. Prove me wrong, right?
Yeah,
you guys say
prove me wrong.
You're both saying 4 wins. I got 2. That's why I hate one last. But anyway, look, the Bills can beat the Bills can beat any of these teams.
Baby.
Colts, Cleveland, Baltimore, Tennessee, right? They move on. If the Bills are 2 seed, they likely get Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh wins, they can beat them, right? But Kansas City is so good. They were so good in the playoffs last year. They've lost 1 game this entire season. They beat the Bills already once.
Missed the field goal.
They already beat the Bills, Anthony. They came back from 28 points down last year.
Oh my God! Come on.
Game. I have not seen the Bills do that.
Yeah.
28 points down.
That's a great point.
I love listen. You know I love the Bills, Anthony. I do. It's just one of those things where as much, and you heard my pod, if you didn't find this, my pod this morning, I had this whole, like, my monologue at the beginning was talking about how, look, it's a new place for us. I don't want to give this up. I want to be here. I want to be at the top. I want to be, but at the same time, we have to actually break through that ceiling. Oh, yeah. And the way you're talking, you're like, man, we're playing the best football right now. Listen, the playoffs is a new season.
It is.
I don't care what, so we could be 12-3 right now, go into the playoffs at 13-3 or 12-4, and then play like a 0-1 team and come home real quick.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. Just simmer a bit.
Yeah, no, and I think all you guys make great points. I think let's talk about Green Bay real quick. I think their defense is better than Buffalo's. They have multiple pass rushers, good pass rushers. And I think Jair Alexander is not as good as Trey White, but he's up there. He's really good. Adrian Amos. These guys are playing lights out football. I don't think they played as tough a schedule as Buffalo. Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that Aaron Rodgers does, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but the throw he had to Devontae Adams on the fade route, I mean, that shit was pure. Aaron Rodgers is that dude.
Yes, and exactly. Look, every best throw Allen has ever thrown, the first words that come out of my mouth are, oh my God, he looked like Aaron Rodgers. That's what I say when Allen does something spectacular, because Aaron Rodgers is that guy.
It's different, though.
Aaron is a different level.
Oh, definitely. That's what I'm saying. Let me say this. He's never made. I'm like, oh my God, that was Aaron Rodgers.
The way Aaron, the ball just is just beautiful. Oh, yeah. The way it's the ball placement. Yeah. I mean, it's just like
it's poetry.
Josh Allen is not on Aaron Rodgers' stratosphere right now.
I wouldn't say that.
He's in the vicinity, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. No, and he's sniffing Patrick Mahomes
younger.
Barely.
He's more athletic now.
But I think to go to you guys' point, I think you got to be able to show what you could do in the playoffs, and the Bills have not shown that they can be that dude in the playoffs. And until you beat Patrick Mahomes, all the pressure on the Chiefs right now, really.
Well, it sounds like we can all agree that the number is actually 3, right? Because the 2, we all expect us to win 2, and then it's that third game of will you or won't you win that? Yeah.
Hold on, that's
the game against the Chiefs.
My guy Joe, the voice. If y'all not listening to Joe Miller's stuff, man, that's the homie. That's my homie. Hey, he's the best voice in Bill's community. You're not going to beat it. I know my voice is sexy, but he's even got me beat. Listen, this is what he says. He says, the question is this in regards to the over-under on playoff wins. Does Josh have a letdown game coming in? And if so, can the team overcome it? I think that is a very valid question. It depends on the defense. And specifically, it depends on the run defense. I think the pass defense is fine, but the run defense can be stout. I think the Bills are a well-rounded team, offense, defense, special teams, where they can sustain a Josh Allen letdown or where he's not throwing dimes all day long. But I'll start with you, Eric. Spence, you go next. Anthony, you finish on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because it's, we haven't seen it yet, and the Bills are hot right now. But I think if Josh has a letdown game, it's going to be because the Bills are having problems running the football. I think you got in the playoffs, especially, you have to have a good ground and pound game to control the clock. And, that would be something that could, if the teams are forcing Josh to run the football and they can't do it, I could see him struggling. But that, outside of that, though, I mean, Josh is hot right now. The offensive coordinator is coming up with great game plans. So, I mean, we'll see.
Okay. All right, Spence, go ahead.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What is that?
Go ahead. No, hold on, Anthony. Go ahead.
Who you saying? Go ahead.
You. Spence, you.
No, I just, man, I don't know, because when I say this, I know people are going to yell at me and be mad about it. But in my mind, I would prefer that the Bills actually did play all their starters this weekend, and if it is going to be a letdown game, let's lose to Miami. I could give a damn. Like, we're there. I get it. We want the 2. If he has a letdown game and it happens to be that, let him be disappointed. Let him feel bad, be pissed off, so he can feel what a loss feels like again. And then that way, let him light a fire, and we win the next 4 games. But I don't want to see a letdown once the playoffs start. Dude, I need you on all 4 games.
Here's the thing about Josh Allen. We know this as Bills fans. He is the only player on this roster who can single-handedly lose us a game because we rely on him so much. So it depends on what that letdown is. Is that letdown 3 interceptions? Because if it's 3 interceptions, guess what? There's no way the rest of our team is going to come together to overcome that. That's just not how this team is built. You need to do your thing. Now, Josh Allen has obviously been the best player in the NFL. He won back-to-back AFC Player of the Week. He could win it again this week. I mean, it's crazy how well Josh Allen has been playing the past couple of weeks. And if it's so a letdown game, if it's what comes to my mind is those middle games when he was playing with the hurt left shoulder, right? He wasn't 100% in those games. But what happened? We still won some of those games because Josh Allen was able to do what he needed to do, and the rest of the team was able to step up. We didn't dominate like we are now because we weren't healthy on defense. We weren't healthy on offense. We were, dinged up and had some COVID things going on there with the matchups that we lost. But still, we were able to get the job done. So I think the defense is built right now, is playing well enough to overcome Josh Allen not having a phenomenal game. But if Josh Allen throws 3 interceptions or all of a sudden it becomes home, looking for big play Josh, which we've seen none of in the last 9-10 weeks at least. So I find it hard to believe that he would get to that level. Eric's point is a good one, too. The running game could also, if you need to rely on the running game, say it's such bad weather, it's raining and 32 degrees and it's really bad, you can't get a grip on the ball, you're going to have to rely on the run game. Allen is taken out of the equation for the most part. The run game has been getting better the last few weeks. So I'm actually okay with a situation like that because I think our defense and the run game getting better the way it has can overcome a situation even like that against any of the opponents we mentioned before. Maybe not the Kansas City Chiefs or maybe not, Tennessee because that's what they do best. But, it's still a matter of matchup and doing what we can. I don't think Allen will have that big letdown, but the team certainly can overcome it to an extent.
Okay. So
great question.
It is. And I think the Bills are good with the run game. I think they've shown that they can run the ball when they need to. The Patriots,
this game, even though
they got a good run D.
There was a little bit in this game where I was like, stop running the ball. You're just forcing it. Stop it. Like, just pass. You're passing all over one of the best defenses there is, and then you try and run the ball and you get 2 yards and you get 1 yard and you're just wasting downs. Like, pass the ball.
I like what they did when they started to kind of, and I think even one of the announcers made a comment about it. At one point of the game, it felt like they turned their passing game into the run game. Like when they were throwing like a ton of screens, just short passes to Diggs, and he was getting like 8 yards every time, 11 yards, 7 yards. And it's like, just do that. Just do that.
Y'all see this comment down here? Josh Allen is the personification of RPO. I don't know who he's watching, but we don't do a lot of RPO in our offense.
I think what he means is his ability to escape the pocket, and then he can either run on you or pass on you.
You're giving him too much credit. Don't even take up for him on that one. He wrong on that. It's okay to take that L. We don't do a lot of run pass option, but this Bills offense is they've shown the ability to be able to do multiple things. I mean, this is Brian Dable, who is from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, where their whole precipice is, you take one thing from us, we're going to stop you from one thing, but we're going to do this other thing over here. It's so multifaceted. They can do so many things on offense. The running game is just now, in the past 5 weeks, starting to form, which is good going into the playoffs. But, yeah, you guys are right. This is a pass-first offense, and Josh Allen is playing lights out. So
how
if you can put the ball in the hands of the most dynamic player in the league right now, by all means, do. By all means.
We didn't even talk about how meaningful what you just said was, the fact that Bill Belichick, the king of attacking what you do best and taking it away, the Bills just tore him apart. You say, oh, yeah, we pass better than anybody. So guess what we're going to do? Pass on you. We don't care who your defensive backs are and how good they are and how Pro Bowl snub they are, according to ESPN, even though they're not a very good team this year.
Right.
It's like, come on.
Good point.
And the best, my favorite part was when Diggs was told the guy, what's his name, the defender there, he pointed at him because he made one good play and he was all in his face, and he's like, well, you better watch out. And sure enough, Diggs crushed him on 2 touchdowns after that and got a third from somebody else. That was
go ahead, Eric.
The thing with pass first teams in the playoffs, what did the Bills do when they played Kansas City? Deep coverage, right? You're not throwing one over the top. They forced them to run the football, and they did. And they won the game because of that. When you get to the playoffs, what is the strength of the Bills team? The pass game, right? We all agree with that. Maybe Josh running. They're going to try to force the Bills to run the football. So I get that the Bills are a pass-first team, but when it comes to the playoffs, you got a game plan for both.
Dude, we just beat the San Francisco 49ers, the Steelers, the Broncos, all these teams that are supposedly so good on defense. They're better. The teams we've beat already are better. The Patriots are better than the teams we're going to see in the playoffs. The Browns, the Colts, even the Chiefs.
I think it's another speed when you get to the playoffs.
You put 8 guys
it's a
back
different
there.
Game plan. It's all in. It's faster.
You can put 8 guys back there from the Chiefs or the Titans or whatever team you want. There's no way they're covering Diggs, Beasley, and Brown if they're all healthy.
There's something to be said.
I don't care how many guys you got on the field.
There's something to be said about what Eric is saying, though. You do have to be able to run the football. Certainly. Now, I know the strength of the Bills is the pass game, but yeah, running the football is going to be important. And matter of fact, if the Bills get the number 2 seed, you do have to travel to Buffalo. And I don't know if y'all ever play Madden, but anytime it's January, it's always fucking snowing in Buffalo, right?
Hey, and 3 of the 4 teams in the championship games last year were run first teams.
True. But
I love that point. I think Kansas City's an outlier, so I can't use them.
When you have a talent like Josh Allen, you look at the Chiefs last year. Yeah. What did they do? It wasn't the run game that won it. Yeah. It was the passing game and the running combination of Patrick Mahomes and key moments is what really got them where they're going.
But and I get it. Like old school football is always when you get down to it, get down to foundations. Let's run the football. Let's play good defense. You're going to win championships. But guess what? Patrick Mahomes said F that. And last year, out of the 4 teams who was there, he was the only team that led the passing attack, and they won the Super Bowl. And they were down early. They were down in a lot of those games. And he said, forget what you thought, forget what you heard. I got this arm, and you about to fill it. And that's what
happens when you're down early, right?
Now, bro,
you can't run the ball when you're down early by 21 points. And that's what they did best, and they came back and won.
Right. They're definitely an outlier, in my opinion.
I mean, look at the Super Bowl, though.
Trying to copy them is going to be difficult.
Damian Williams was having the playoff run of his life in some regards. They tried to run the ball against San Francisco, and Patrick Mahomes in the second half was like, Hell no. I'm going to start throwing all over the yard. Like, stop me.
I'd love to see Josh do that.
They exploited Richard Sherman, which led to a damn Super Bowl win. So all I'm saying is you have to use your strength, but you need to have some variance and balance. I think this Bills offense definitely has variance and balance in it. I like where everything's at offensively. Having John Brown is going to be another element. I mean, and I'll just throw this out there before we move to the next topic. But think about all the comeback routes that he runs and the dig routes and so forth that you cannot stop. Along with the healthy Cole Beasley, let him rest for the next week. I think this offense, the sky's the limit. The Bills are playing the best football that they have played in years right now. But moving on, I'm gonna drop some knowledge on y'all real quick, okay? If y'all are ready for this. So I did some research, and on Twitter, we kind of been talking about what's the philosophy moving forward with the Buffalo Bills. I know I've talked to each one of you guys about different ideas on what the philosophy is moving forward. And before we get into that, I'll say this, is that make sure you smash that like button. All right, we thrive on likes. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Jspence the King over at Buffalo Rumblings. That's my guy. But this is the Hoof Podcast. This is the Hoof Live, okay? But getting back into the topic at hand, here's what everybody, I feel like people need to get out of the idea that the way that Brandon Beane constructs this roster moving forward is going to change. People change. Philosophies change. In business, they talk about what got you to 250 clients will not get you to 500. You have to be able to mold and change and grow as you go, okay? And I think football is the same thing. You cannot just do the same things. You cannot just always draft for need, okay, or vacancies in free agency and so forth, right? I think you have to build in a way that the Bills are in a position now that they have a franchise quarterback, a real franchise quarterback. You have to draft. You have to look at it from a different way. So this is some of the research that I compiled this week. So this is my criteria so far. I'm looking at bona fide franchise quarterbacks who's had at least 30 passing touchdowns and 10 wins, okay? So I'm going to give you the quarterback, and I'm going to tell you what they did the following year, okay? Now, I did a lot of these, okay? I'm just going to bring up a certain amount.
How far back in years are we talking?
I have all the way back
to
all the way back to 2000.
Okay, it's 20 years.
So the first one I'll bring up because we've been talking about him a lot. Aaron Rodgers. His breakout year, and now again, 30 touchdowns, 10 plus wins. His breakout year was in 2009. He had 30 touchdowns and 11 wins. In the 2010 draft, the 23rd pick, they went and got Brian Bulaga. Now that's an offensive tackle. Now we're talking about, I want more skill positions, but no one on here can argue that Brian Bulaga was not a great tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, he was a Pro Bowl tackle, right? Patrick Mahomes. Now he came into legal weapons. Already, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. He already had weapons. His breakout season was in 2018. He won the MVP, 50 touchdowns, right? And he had a 12-4 record. Who did they draft the following year? McCole Hardman, round 2. They didn't have a first-round pick, but they got McCole Hardman in round 2. Now, everybody was like, why the hell would you draft McCole Hardman when you got Tyreek Hill? Well, it's all about making the strength of your team better. Andrew Luck is another one. Breakout season in 2014. He had 40 touchdowns and it had 11-5 record, okay? And the 2015 draft, pick 29, they got Philip Dorsett, wide receiver out of Miami, okay? Peyton Manning in the year 2000, they were already stacked on offense. 33 touchdowns, a 10-6 record. In the 2001 draft, who did they take? Reggie Wayne at the bottom of round 1. In 2007, Big Ben had 32 touchdowns. They had a 10-6 record. In 2008, who did they pick? 23rd pick, they picked Rashard Mendenhall. And lastly, you know what? I'll just stop right there. All I'm saying is a lot of us want the Bills. You know, we look at the roster and we look at who's leaving and so forth, and we say, oh, yeah, well, you gotta draft defense. I am banging the table that Brandon Beane and those guys, they need to draft on the offensive side. I think they need to draft a game changer, another game changer. I don't think you can have enough. I think one of the best recipes for a young quarterback is to have more weapons. Now, that's just my philosophy. I'm bringing it from a different perspective. I know you guys have a different perspective. Yeah. I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you were Brandon Beane, how would you construct this roster differently moving forward, particularly in free agency and the 2021 draft?
Two thoughts just on what you started with. One is, as you were going through, I was trying to think who was the head coach for that team. That was one thing I was thinking, because a lot of them were offensive-minded head coaches who drafted offensive players. Sean McDermott, defensive head coach, we know he focuses on the defense. That's what he does. The second thing I thought of was how many of those teams were just positions of need, right? You draft Balaga because your weakest position on your team is offensive line, and that's who you need. And maybe not. That definitely wasn't the case with Kansas City. Most people thought they were going to go defense there, and they picked Mecole Hardman to bolster an already number one offense. So, yes, there is a precedent set for that, but I think the general consensus is, what do you do well as a head coach, and what do you want on your team, and what do you need? And Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are that kind of combination. They know what they're doing. They do it well. We've seen that. That's why the Bills are in this position now. I do think there's something to be said about turning that switch from building a team to now maintaining a team. As we talked about, with the fall of the Patriots, they now have to figure out if they can rebuild, because they've never had to rebuild. He built and then he maintained, right? We don't know if Bill Belichick can rebuild. He's never had to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see if the best coach ever can now rebuild a team and make them good again. I don't think he can, quite honestly. I think they're headed for mediocrity. But the Bills and Brandon Beane now need to maintain a team that they've brought to this level. And what we've seen from teams like the Patriots and other good teams in the past, the Pittsburgh, Baltimore's, you need to maintain what you do well by drafting positions that you do well. It's going to be hard. You're going to have guys you have to say goodbye to that you don't want to say goodbye to. We've had plenty of conversation on the Matt Milano and Darrell Williams. Maybe there's a way to keep both, but it'll be at the expense of something else. Yeah, regardless. So it's going to be John Brown, for example. People are saying cut John Brown. That's going to be a hard goodbye on this team, right? You're not going to want to say goodbye to these guys. So maintaining them, this is going to be hard. But I still think with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, you draft to what your weaknesses are. It's going to depend on what happens in the first round. If we re-sign Matt Milano, linebacker is in a position of need. Number one for me, Matt Milano is the center of everything we do in this offseason. If Matt Milano is re-signed, we do not need a linebacker. If we do not re-sign Matt Milano, linebacker becomes urgently our number one player of need, regardless of anything else. Not the offensive line, not a cornerback, none of that matters. It's linebacker, because this entire defense and the entire way Sean McDermott coaches revolves around that one.
Okay, all right. Okay, I got you. Eric, go ahead, and then we'll end with you on that.
Did you do Cam Newton? What year did he break out?
Well, his was probably he was balling his.
That's where these guys come from. That's where Brandon Beane comes from. 19 years in Carolina, so that'd be interesting to see for me. And I can't recall a good receiver for them, right? Greg Olsen maybe, so I'd say tight end. But I think the biggest need right now, and there's a lot of unknowns, but I would say guard right now, because you have, I think, 5 offensive linemen on the last year of their contract. Who knows what's going to happen? Are they going to re-sign some? Are they going to re-sign all of them? We don't know. I think it's guard. You got to protect Josh Allen, and you have weapons on offense. And then obviously the Matt Milano situation, which Anthony mentioned, is utmost importance, especially for a Sean McDermott-led team. If they do not sign Matt Milano, I think it's linebacker is the number one priority. So I go guard and then linebacker, and I'll say number 3, tight end.
Okay. All right.
It needs.
So there's your game changer right there. Spence, go ahead.
Well, so first, to Sterl's point earlier, I agree that we do need a game changer still on offense. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I wouldn't go receiver. I wouldn't go because obviously we have Diggs wrapped up for another 3 years after this season. We have Brown wrapped up for another 2 years after the season, and then Cole is Beasley 2 years. Yeah. Yep. So we have our core for a couple of years to where this season we had it nice. Next season we got it nice. The third season, if we decide not to cut or trade or whatever, we got it nice.
And there's still guys like Isaiah Hodgins and
right, who I was actually literally just showing. I was out earlier, and I'm showing people his game film from college, and he's insane. So we already have weapons, but the thing is, and this is why I'm not a GM, and this is why I'm sitting here doing podcasts. And I don't know, because I haven't even looked at college much this season, so I don't know. But if there's a running back that is a altering running back, like a game changer, I don't care if you spend your first round, second round. I know Greg Thompson. I know this is cover 1, so I know he's going to yell at me after this. You do not draft I get it. I'm sorry, Greg. We need a running game. And as much as I love Motor and as much as I love Moss, I feel like it just hasn't been there. Now, secondly, again, I'm with you on offense. We need a tight end. And as much as I love Tyler Kroft, as much as everybody else, not me, seems to love Knox.
The team loves Knox.
We need a tight end, man. Like, and I know those George Kittle guys don't grow on trees, right? And the Kelseys and all those guys, man. Please, like, let's just get. Can I get a Darren Waller out here, man?
Yeah.
You look at what's the kid that we had here?
That's another high bar, though. I don't know.
Okay, well, no, I can take a step back. Honestly, take another step back.
What's his name?
The kid that we had here for a while, and then he ended up. Now he's on the Washington football
team. Logan Thomas.
Can we get a Logan Thomas back? Like, I need that type of production from my tight end position, because what's happening right now it doesn't matter because we have Stephon Diggs and we got Cole Beasley. Like, it doesn't matter. But if defenses really can learn how to figure out how to slow down our receivers on some way, that cover blanket or the safety blanket that quarterbacks normally have with the tight end, Josh doesn't have that. Yeah. Last season, John Brown was his tight end. This season, Stephon Diggs is his tight end, because when he can't figure out where to go, he looks for him.
That reminds me. Last week, Sterling bought a Christmas present for Dawson Knox. He bought him some hands, and apparently he shipped it via UP or via USPS and didn't go with priority shipping because he missed that first catch in the end zone, and then he got it in the second half when he made those two big catches after that. So he missed it there. Speaking of missed, we missed a super chat from our guy Brian Bowers. Let's do this before we get there.
Why does everyone want to force the run when our passing game has lit up every defense we've faced? Yeah. Makes the word playoffs change the game plan.
Can I take this one?
Yeah, go for it. Do what you do best, Josh and Diggs.
So it's not that we necessarily want to force the run game, but you want to be able to have it available. And the problem is the Buffalo Bills have only been able to run the ball this season. I would say, 3 games where you felt like, hey, they ran the ball pretty good today.
Definitely the first New England game. They ran the ball really well.
Definitely that game. Last night, kind of. Yep. Last night, Motor had, I think, 56 or 57 yards. And then, Moss had 56 and Motor had like 36 or 37. And in the first half, he was snatching ankles. So I was with it. I'm like, let's go. But it's not consistent enough to where when you do face a team that, let's say we do face a team that just so happens to have good cornerbacks. Miami is going to be a challenge Sunday. Sure. I know we don't think so. They're a good defense, the best in the league, actually. What if they really can shut down your passing game? You got to have something.
Well, I think all in. The thing with these last few games that they've been, what I've seen and what I've taken away from it is we do have the running game available to us. We haven't seen they're not top 10 backs, right? We're not a top 10 running team by any means, but we do have the ability to run the ball. It's just the fact that we choose not to, right? It's almost like they've shown exactly that, right? You can run. It's not ideal. It's not superstar, but you can do it. You can average 3.5 yards a carry. You have Allen getting his yardage. You have Zach Moss. You have Singletary. They both can do what they do. And it's just the fact that you don't need to run the ball or you choose not to. Like I felt on New England last night. They could have run the ball. They could have run the ball the whole second half if they wanted to, and they were getting chunks of yardage and everything. Situationally, I mean, if they line up, you got to change it to the outside or whatever. But it's just a matter of we didn't need to use the run game. So I do think that the Bills are thinking that same way. We are preparing for the fact that if we need to run the ball, we can. It's not ideal by any means, but we can. I just say
we literally ran the football better with Jonathan Williams, and we literally ran the football better. And that's not a slight because I do love Motor and Moss.
No, I'm kidding.
That's the point. That's the point. Yeah. Like we literally ran the ball better. And I just saw in the comments where somebody mentioned that like we've been overpaying running backs for however long. The only running back that we kind of sort of overpaid was Shady, but he definitely gave us every single value, like every ounce of value you could squeeze out of that contract. Yeah, Shady gave it to us. Yeah. So I don't think we overpaid anything. If anything, I think consistently the Buffalo Bills has always had a good running game. And now that we have a good passing game, we are lacking the game or the thing that we always had. So it's a little frustrating to
the conversation.
Right. And that's what brings us back to the original point. See, if you could take a guy like Travis Etienne at the end of round 1, the Bills are draft. I mean, even if you traded, just listen to me. Even if you traded back into round 2 for the first 4 or 5 picks and gave up your first round pick, if your top pick was Travis Etienne, like, he is a game-changing running back. Just think what it would do for Josh Allen in this offense. You have a running back that could take it to the house at any time. That you have to game plan not only for Josh Allen, not only for Stephon Diggs, maybe not only for John Brown, but that makes the job for Dawson Knox easier. Okay, and you have a running back that you can rely on. Now, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, they're serviceable, but they are not top tier caliber running backs. I can make the same argument for Kyle Pitts out of Florida. If you at this point, I just feel like the Bills need another game changing running back, tight end. Hell, even give me a nasty ass generational talent offensive lineman with those on growing trees. But the Bills need more speed on offense, particularly at running back and tight end. They need more game breaking ability, and I think that takes the pressure off of Josh Allen to have to make plays all the time.
Right.
It just makes the growth of Josh Allen that much better when you have security blankets. So we don't have to say, well, if Josh Allen doesn't do it, we ain't getting it.
Right. But no one's been able to stop Josh to this point. And
but
I think
they will.
But the running backs would be better for the Bills if Josh Allen wasn't hogging all their touchdowns and yardage. You know what I'm saying? There's only so many running plays in a season, and I think Josh is so effective at running the football that he's a factor, and he's got to be in the conversation.
Quarterback, you do not want your quarterback.
I agree.
Look at Cam Newton. That man's broken because he's put so much pressure and pain on his body because they had to do it. Because he's
not doing that this year. He's only taking it when it's given to him, and he's sliding and getting out of bounds and everything that he should be doing. Even he said that in his press conference.
I mean, however you want to slice it, we could have the best game in history, like the best passing game in history. You need to be able to run the ball.
Yes,
right. Like I get the debate. I'm reading it. Like I'm reading the comments, and a bunch of them are like, no, we don't need it. We got Josh, and Josh is doing this. And Josh is doing.
Listen, we do have a scriptable run game. It's not like these guys are averaging 2 yards.
Anthony, because y'all also missing this. Injuries happen. If Josh Allen does take one of those hits and Josh is out for 3 games or 4 games, do you really think Matt Barkley or Jake Fromm is going to come in here and win the football games?
No.
We need to be able to run the ball. I'm not saying that we want to – look, Josh has arrived. I want him to be here. I want him to stay here. What I'm saying is, just as a backup, if something happens to Josh, you saw what happened when he injured his shoulder. The couple games now we still were winning. We weren't horrible, but if we had a good running game, do you think the Kansas City game would have gone a little differently?
I hear what you're saying.
Titans game, a little different.
How do you keep Pat Mahomes off the field?
Like, I just don't get how
running game control the
clock. That's how we lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's how we lost. They kept Jim Kelly off the field. Like, I get it. We are so enamored now because Josh Allen is doing like these great things, bro. When things don't go right, he's gonna have a game. The greatest players have off games. Yeah. There's a reason why, I just had this whole speech earlier about, on Aaron Rodgers. He has 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They never gave him the weapons he deserved. This year, they had a good number 1 draft pick. Guess what they did? Drafted a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and now they look like they're geniuses because they didn't need that. But you're right. If they actually gave him the pieces he needed, there's a reason they fired their coach because he wasn't getting the job done there.
Right. And what they do with the new coach, they started running the football and they won 13 games the last 2 years. I mean,
you need a running game.
And now Aaron Rodgers looks like as good as he ever has this year. So and they still have the ability to run the ball. I see what you're saying, Jspence, and the fact that the Bills don't necessarily have running backs that can take over a game. Right? We don't. But I do think that the combination of our defense playing well, as I kind of said earlier with the can we do this kind of conversation.
That's not fair.
No. You're hold on. Listen. And I'm a little disappointed in Joe Miller for agreeing with this shit.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Antoine Smith, Blount, and Michelle. No, you had the best fucking quarterback of all time and the best defensive-minded coach of all time.
The best damn spy network.
You could have had a broken Jesus Christ in the backfield, and he would have got 300 yards rushing. Like, don't even do that to me. Tom Brady's the GOAT. You don't just grow a quarterback on trees. Like, you need – look, the Saints. Look at Alvin Kamara. He is a game. Christian McCaffrey. If he had a real team around him, oh my God! Like, look.
What did you say? to this point, though, what did you say about the Chiefs' run in the playoffs last year? What did they start to do that surprised teams? They got their running back involved. Nobody thought he was going to. He had 2 100-yard games going in it, and he was the reason they won.
MVP of the Super Bowl as well.
So the Bills have that capability too. Singletary and Moss are about on the same level as the Chiefs were at running back last year. So they could go into the playoffs and surprise you too. All of a sudden, you think they're going to throw it every game, and we get that running back.
I agree with you, Anthony. No, I agree with you, Anthony. They are on par. Like I think talent-wise, they are. However, this season they haven't played like it. So we can say they're talented. Coming out of the draft this last year, you know how much I was pounding on the table for Moss. I love Moss. Yeah. He hasn't played like what I expected him to
thought he was going to play like. Neither is Devin Singletary.
And I was going to say last year. And at he come on, man, don't do that to me. Don't
it's an upgrade, is my point.
Okay.
But last year in the playoffs, we were excited about Motor because of how he looked in that Texans game. This season, he has not looked like the Texans game. So I get what you're like. Look, dude, I'm agreeing. However, we haven't shown it. So to this point, you can't say our running game is on par with what Kansas City's was last year. Now our passing game all day
better probably. They didn't run at all in the regular season. The guy was completely irrelevant. And then come the playoffs, all of a sudden he's the best guy.
Guess what?
Why do you think
to run
they got Le'Veon Bell? Why?
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
They drafted Kaiir
he's not looking good.
Right. Because they understand. Look, we can't keep putting all the pressure on Patrick Mahomes. He makes spectacular plays. Don't get me wrong, because he makes, he scrambles and he does all this stuff. For longevity of your franchise quarterback, who they paid $500 million, or they're paying $500 million to, you need to have, if Patrick Mahomes goes down or if Josh Allen goes down, you need to be able to sustain wins. And longevity and winning is more important than just having a stat sheet stuffer. You need to have depth. Running back, game-changing players at every position that you can get them on offense for the Bills moving forward. In my opinion, it matters so much.
To your point, they signed Le'Veon Bell. Do you think Le'Veon Bell can take over a game anymore? He certainly hasn't shown
they didn't know that.
He 1-2 punch. Edwards-Helaire and Bell.
Yeah, it was
exactly. When they had Helaire and Bell, now you're talking about a good combo because you don't know who's going to catch, who's going to run.
That's a huge upgrade for them from last season on paper. On paper.
Marshawn Lynch in Seattle. They had a young budding star in Russell Wilson. What did they do? When they found out they had a good gem in Russell Wilson, they would say, you know what? Marshawn, that dude can play. Buffalo, go ahead and give us Marshawn, right? And they got Marshawn Lynch, and look what he did for them. He allowed Russell Wilson to develop. He did, because he took a lot of the pressure off, because he was a game-changing back. I'm just saying that if you
add that, that's one thing. But I think to invest where we got onto this running back conversation was investing draft capital. Spence, I think, brought up.
Yeah, I brought it up in the first round.
I don't think you could come anywhere close to drafting another running back, even if it is.
I think you'll be surprised.
Or the best running back in the draft, or whatever it is.
And I would agree with that. If it was
that's not how this 15, team is built. Again,
the Bills are picking late 20s and 30s now.
We're going to be picking 29, 30 seconds.
But you're picking
between 29 and 32. So but just understand, we're not picking top 10.
But that's what I'm saying. You're still not going to pick a third running back in 3 years. If you do, it's going to be in the third round. A guy who you truly believe can be a breakout.
I appreciate your comment. Hold on, let me finish.
I don't think it's going to be.
We're looking at it from a poverty mentality. Hold on, let me finish. We've been looking at it from a poverty mentality because that's what the Bills have been doing for fucking years. Okay, you can't look if you're at the end of first round. If you're at the end of first round, all bets are off because you're not gonna. The chances of you getting a top flight defensive end or cornerback, they are slim to none. They're slim to none. There are talented running backs, talented wide receivers, talented tight ends.
Not the guys
after the draft. You have to change the mentality that you have moving forward. It can't just be.
You're making my point for me. There are running backs everywhere that they could draft. You can draft that guy in the third round.
No, there aren't running backs everywhere in the draft. When's the last time you remember the Buffalo Bills being outside of the top 15 in rushing? We're currently 18th.
I have to look it up.
It's the end of the season, and we're 18th in the league in rushing.
Well, that's only at the expense of our rushing.
Is that team or running back?
Bro. So let's look at teams with good passing games, right? Can we do that? You want to go there? Right? Matter of fact, and wait, before we do that, because a lot of comparisons are being made to Kansas City. They're not 18th; they're above us. Okay, so we're talking about teams with good passing offense. Who else? Well, no, but who else would you say, like, in your mind right now, when you talked about Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers?
Yep.
Guess where Green Bay is?
Because they have good running game.
Top 10.
8th.
Yeah.
8th in the league. Listen, the run game doesn't have to be the focal point. You gotta take the pressure off your guy when he's not having the day. You got to. And if you have, could you imagine if we would have had Shady right now, like when he was held, like then with this team? Who could stop us? I thought we would be unstoppable. I thought we would be completely unstoppable because you couldn't stop the run game, the pass game, and our defense was going to be top 5. That's what I thought. The defense hasn't performed like that the first half of the season. Now they're on par to look like 6 for the second half is what they look like. So I'm happy. Offense, the passing game is insane. The running game is 18th in the league. When we had CJ Spiller, we were
yards per carry. You're just talking yards. Exactly. That's at the expense of the pass game.
Okay. No, it's not.
You only have 5,000 yards in a season.
No.
You got to split it up one way or the other.
Wait, you said you want to go yards per carry is what you want to go at? Is that what you were?
I just asked for that stat. Yeah, because that might be.
We're at 4.3 yards a carry. 4.3 yards a carry.
League average, right? That's about league average, 4.5.
Where's Pittsburgh at?
Where's Pittsburgh?
Because that's a good example, probably the best example of the season of a team that's one-dimensional. When defenses figure it out, they're lost.
They're dead last. They average 3.6 yards a carry.
They couldn't even run the ball last week. They had to go over the top with it, right?
But the difference is, too, nobody's scared of them.
Right.
No. Yeah.
So when they figure out, if we can stop Ben, guess what? When the receivers are dropping balls or when they're not catching balls properly, then guess what? We can knock these dudes out. Nobody's scared of Pittsburgh because they don't have a run game. Exactly. If you're going to look at the top teams, once you get to the playoffs, it's about running the football and playing defense. Like, I know because I gave Eric a tough time earlier, like joking about like the fact that Mahomes still wanted to, but I'm telling you, the playoffs is where good defense and rushing the ball happen. Right. You're not going to win. You're just not. If you don't
have, there's a reason San Francisco was there, right?
There's a reason.
There's a reason
why Baltimore was there last year. Now they lost early. I'm not saying
even Kansas City, right?
They have the opposite problem. They can't pass.
Last in defense and terrible with the run until the playoffs. And all my points still stands that if they need to do that, they still can. If you ask me, can Singletary and Moss have a 100-yard game or whatever in the playoffs to help Josh Allen and help us win a game? Yes, I think they can. They are.
So let me ask you this. No, wait. Let me ask you this.
No. They are not holding this team back by any means.
So you think they can do it in the playoffs against the top talent when we haven't done it all season against teams that haven't
talent all year?
We played good teams, but we've also played bad teams, and we haven't been able to run. They haven't been. They had one game where I was like, "Oh, they did that shit." They ain't done that no other game. We played the Jets twice, and we haven't been able. You can't run on the Jets.
My final point is
Frank Gore ran better than our running backs.
Singletary and Moss are not holding this team back in any way, shape, or form. Are they the top 10 running backs? No, but they are not. They are capable of being able to do what they can do in the playoffs and having 100 games and to take the burden off of Allen. That's all we need. You don't need a Derrick Henry or an Elvin.
They don't have the talent. The point.
They do. They're not holding us back. Where they are right now,
let me finish
holding us back.
Okay. The point I'm making is you need a top flight talent to take the pressure off. Now, look, drafting running back, second round, third round, fourth round, those are anomalies. Those are not the norm. That's why they have rounds and you get picks for rounds because there's a premium picks. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Like people make. Because I mentioned Marshawn Lynch. The Bills drafted him in the first round. Okay, like they gave up a fourth-round pick. The Bills got a fourth-round pick in return to get a Marshawn Lynch. All I'm saying is if you have a chance to take a generational back or a very top-flight talented back, you do it. Because that's, in my opinion, that's the next thing that Josh Allen needs.
But here's my argument against that, too. I would take a running back in the third round. I'm not arguing against taking a running back at all. I'm saying maybe you do find another guy that you think can be the guy. You draft him in the third round. Great. Good for you. Third round for the third straight year. That would be crazy, but it could happen. I would rather have a tight end. Give me a tight end in the position that you're saying running back in the first or second round. Give me that tight end, and I think that helps this offense a lot more because The running backs right now, they are serviceable. They are good enough. They are, just because they're not elite playmaking guys. I'd rather have a tight end who can do that and keep our running backs the same and maybe draft a third-round guy who could end up being what we expected from Singletary and Moss or better. Because
Josh Allen gets hurt. Who's throwing them the ball? Who's throwing the tight end the ball?
Well, you know what? I will say I'm just glad that none of us are GMs.
Yeah.
Can I say that? I am absolutely thrilled that none of us are GMs because we would absolutely ruin the Buffalo Bills right now.
Yeah, hell no. I'd make Yeah,
but I know
another pass rusher in the first round, and we're all going to be like, "Where did this come from?"
Well, it's a good debate and it's fun, but honestly, with what Strohs is saying, I fully agree because the thing is, our defense is our defense. We didn't start off well, but we're seeing who they are.
Yeah.
Our passing game, clearly, everybody's yelling at us, even with the lack of a good tight end. Our passing game is phenomenal. And I know in the comments everybody's talking about a right tackle, and I know our we are on a bunch of 1-year deals, and I get it. The line is gelled. Like they look good. I haven't complained about the line in weeks.
Right.
They're trying for Josh Allen.
This was
and they're like Josh is standing there for like 8 seconds, like flat-footed.
He didn't even get touched this game. That's crazy.
Re-sign all of them. I'm okay with that. Re-sign all of them.
So guess what? The only area on our team that is lacking is run. Our passing attack. Now, if you're going to break it down by positions, our tight ends suck. But our passing game is dope. Our passing game is great. Our defense is getting better. We're great. Our running game is lacking if it's not Josh.
This brings me back to one of those two initial points I made. What's your biggest team need? Croft is a free agent. Well, they redid his contract so they could cut him this year, right? And based on what they're doing now, they wish they could have cut him this year. And they said, well, we can't do that. So we're going to keep you on the roster and then cut you this year. So he's done. Croft will not be on this team next year. So we only have one tight end, basically, two if you count Gilliam in there, but not. So tight end, all of a sudden, it does become a position of need. Running back, less so. You've got two running backs. You can sign some free agent. You can choose to draft one, but it's not going to be early in the rounds when clearly tight end is a position of need more than running back. We can agree on that.
No, we can't. How can you say a tight end is a bigger need than a running back when we don't have a running game?
One tight end on the roster, you need a tight end. You either need to sign a free agent.
I mean, if you look at our running game this year, we have no running backs on our roster. We have no running game.
That's not fair.
No, it's not fair. Let's do this. Go ahead. No, because I'm gonna pull up the team stats now. Because y'all got me messed up when y'all trying to talk about all these things. It's like, oh yeah, no, we gonna pull it up. So keep talking. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up. Go ahead, do your thing.
Eric, you've been quiet.
Oh man, because I'm trying to think here. I'm a connect the dots person. You know that.
It's probably somebody.
But I mean, look, but we still don't know what Dawson Knox is, and this drives me crazy. If he was a sure shot number one tight end, I would agree. Let's improve the running game. But I don't think he is.
He's not. No,
there is a giant hole there. And we're going to have a new coordinator, so that remains to be seen there. But Brian Daboll, this offense is really good, and they don't use a tight end. Right? So if Daboll was coming back, I would also argue running back is a higher position. But the new coordinator, who knows what it's going to be.
I think Dawson Knox had 4 passes his way and caught 3 of them, and
dropped 2.
Lee Smith had 3 passes his way and caught 1. I mean,
Lee Smith's the right tackle though. He's not a tight end.
I know exactly.
They should just probably try him out at right tackle next year.
I mean, who else we got at right tackle? Yeah.
So listen, Devin Singletary is leading the
need. Period. It's not. I'm just saying from a body standpoint. Tight end, regardless, is going to be a position of need more than running back. Just from a
look, we haven't played these playoff games yet. That will be a big part. If Singletary gets 25 carries a game and doesn't get it done, now we know we have a real problem at running back.
There we go.
I don't think he's been asked to do that all that much.
You can flip Devin Singletary for draft picks,
bro. He's leading the team. He's leading the team in rushes right now with 168 yards or 680 yards. I'm sorry. Moss has 700. I mean, I'm tired, obviously. Singletary has 680. Moss has 473. Your quarterback, Josh Allen, has 418.
Yeah. He takes a big chunk of it, right?
He takes it. So without the 400 yards, TJ Yeldon has 70 yards rushing. So without Josh Allen, we have for the season, the entire team, we have less than 1,250 yards. For the team. That's insane. The season is over, bro. We got one game left.
But Josh Allen's never going to change. He's always going to have some rushing yard. He's always going to take some piece of that.
That's not the point. That ain't the point. Let Josh Allen have that 400 yards
off the rest of the team.
No, because what I'm telling you is your running backs the rush numbers should be 16 for the team before you add Josh's. Are you kidding me? You got 2 running backs that you drafted. You just mentioned
in the third round.
Years, in the third round. And that's the money round for running backs, right? That's the money round.
And tight end.
Right. We have two
Kittle.
Two top running backs supposed to be out of the draft. And I love them both. So this isn't a slight. I'm not
higher. Now you're talking like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, all them guys, Jonathan, all those guys were taken in the first round and in the early second round. So before the Bills could even pick this year. So third round is not elite running back talent round.
It's not, but let's look at the last 5 years and talk to your guy, Greg Thompson, over at Cover One, one of your brothers. Talk to him every year during the draft. I'm just saying it because every year during the draft, he's tweeting and he's draft a quarterback in the third round. Don't draft a running back in the first. Don't draft. And it's like, okay, I get it, Greg. You're right. But then when I look at the running game now, and for the last 2 years, we drafted in the third round, and now our leading running back has 680, and our second back has 473. Oh, and our quarterback? The guy that when he was coming out of the draft, people were joking, saying that he was a tight end or a running back. He literally is the third leading.
But we can agree that Josh Allen, other than maybe one game in the very beginning of the season, Josh Allen has only run when it's right in front of him, and sometimes he's even waited.
You're making arguments that we're not having. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not debating that.
Running back who can rush for 1,000 yards. If Josh Allen's his quarterback, guess what? His numbers are not going to be 1,000. They're going to be 20% less.
The whole point.
He's always going to have that chance.
I agree with you.
I'm not.
The whole point of the argument.
Again, you're arguing something that we're not.
Roster construction moving forward.
That's what we're saying.
You're going to pay Josh Allen $40 million a year. I think you have to start looking at it a little bit differently. That's why I think
protect him.
Williams at right tackle. Williams at right tackle is important to me.
Yes.
Protecting Josh and giving him all the weapons he needs to succeed. Think about Brian Dable's going to be gone. Who the hell is going to be the coordinator?
So if they don't re-sign Darrell Williams, you're not drafting. You're not drafting a tackle. You're drafting a running back instead. Hell no.
First of all, hold on. First
of all,
the Panthers have not shown that they can draft offensive line talent. Brandon Beane does not draft good at offensive line talent. He have shown that he has not been able to do that. They've also shown that they are not great at drafting wide receivers either. They're not.
They're going to draft a defense.
Brandon Beane, they're scared to draft wide receivers.
What? We drafted
what are you talking about? We got Gabriel Davis.
Who's like
Gabriel Davis is good because of Stephon Diggs and John Brown and Cole Beasley. They're more Tyson on him.
He hasn't even gotten on the field yet. You can't
say that. I can't go there with you.
They have not been successful in drafting wide receivers. Look, it's their first year. We can't even put them in the conversation yet. But go look at what they've done at wide receiver in the Carolina Panthers over the years. They just haven't hit on wide receivers. That's all I'm saying.
We did a full show on that one, so I can concur.
On that one.
Devin Funchess is the only first wide receiver they took.
You got to think about it different. That's all. That's the only point I'm making.
I'm not debating you about Carolina. I'm talking about and what I'm saying is this year for a rookie to have 500 yards going into the last game and 6 touchdowns, I think that's a really good season.
He's doing that because he has Stephon Diggs taking double teams and John Brown and Cole Beasley. Of course, the fourth
John Brown has played 8 games, bro.
It doesn't matter when he's on the field.
He's been replacing. He's been showing up. He's been showing up.
Beasley's been showing up.
This is not top.
I'm not gonna let you just disrespect on people, man. You got to put some respect on my man's name.
Davis is a rookie, and he's far exceeding anybody's expectations. I know people thought I was crazy when I said his high was like 600 yards this year.
He's okay.
He's doing it.
People like, no way. I'm like,
he's not. If John Brown goes down, or Cole Beasley, do you think that he's going to excel like he's been doing it? No, it's because he's surrounded by a bunch of players.
John Brown did go down. He's played 8 games. He did go down.
Oh my God! Listen,
he's been the number 2.
That goes back to my point. It goes back to my point.
Said. You said if he goes down, what is he going to do? He's been down.
He's not.
Stop. Is he not? Wait. Is John Brown not down? Did you not just say, what if John Brown goes down? What is he going to do then? Is John Brown not down?
You have other weapons. You have Josh Allen, who's number 3 in the
MVP. No. Answer the question. No. I did Anthony the same way.
I'm answering the question.
No, answer the first one directly.
John Brown is out. We know he's out. So what I'm saying is you cannot deny that Gabriel Davis is not succeeding because of the guys he has around him. That's my point.
He's getting one-on-ones, right?
That's my
okay. If that's the case, Josh Allen is succeeding because of the guys around him.
Watch the film.
Josh Allen is succeeding because of the guys around him. Cole Beasley is succeeding because of the guys around him. Stephon Diggs is succeeding because of the guys around him.
You're making my point. You're making my point.
No, I killed your point. Like you're saying, like he's part of a team. He's one of 11 guys that's out there.
Last time I checked,
and he's doing good.
The Buffalo Bills drafted 2 wide receivers last year, Isaiah Hodgins and Gabriel Davis. Both of them made the roster. Isaiah Hodgins has been on the IR all year. So both of those guys, they were not first-round picks. They were late-round picks. They both made the roster. Gabe Davis has far exceeded anybody's expectations coming into this year, and he has proven that even without John Brown, he can get the job done. Dude caught 3 touchdown passes in 3 straight games. Win with no John Brown. So it wasn't anybody taking attention away from him. He was the number 2 receiver. Obviously, Beasley's the number 2 talent, but he's in the slot. So literally playing the second wide receiver position on the field. And he caught 3 touchdown passes in those games against good defenses. This isn't against trash guys. This wasn't against the Jets or some other team that doesn't have cornerbacks. This is good defenses he did this against. Has he dropped a few passes? Sure, but don't tell me that they can't draft wide receivers. They just did. Both of those guys are going to be key pieces of this team going forward.
Isaiah Hodgins? You haven't even seen him play yet. How many Oregon State games?
He's going to be a key
How many Oregon State games have you seen of Isaiah Hodgins?
People, even myself, said Duke Williams, was going to be a guy on this roster. Duke Williams is irrelevant. You know why? Because
I was one of those guys who was saying Duke Williams. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's one of those dudes.
I was not a Duke Williams guy.
No. I was, because I said those 2 guys have the same talent. Only they have kept the ball every damn time.
My name right now, because I wasn't feeling that Duke Williams shit.
I know. I just had to mess with you.
Okay, all right. So anyway, this has been a great debate. Hey, this has been so much fun. And for those of you in the chat, we are not mad at each other.
Oh no, this is
all love. This is just what we do. This is just fun. It's just fun. There's no wrong answer. It's just there's just many possibilities, and we're just bringing them all out. We just don't know what they're going to do in the offseason, and it's so much fun to speculate. Okay?
Can I ask a question, though?
Go ahead.
Real quick before we move on, because I know it was running backs, and then we got to wide receivers somehow. But real quick on the running back thing, though. So last year in the playoffs against the Texans, if we had a more legit running game, do you think that would have been different for us, or do you think it was just about what happened with Josh?
I think last year, it was Josh wasn't ready for all that. I think when he tried to rely on people, they didn't. Outside of running back, they didn't show up. Dawson Knox was terrible. Throwing the ball to Duke Williams, he just
definitely didn't show up.
And that was a great pass. Josh Allen did what he had to do. I just think he didn't have enough playmakers around him.
Singletary had a hell of a game in that game.
No, he had a hell of a game. No, he did.
We were missing that secondary piece, right?
Yeah,
and so when I say running game, that's what I mean. I'm not taking anything away from Motor. I'm saying as a team. So in the second half, we come out and we're up by 2 scores, 3 scores technically, 3 scores, 2 if you're gonna go with 2-point conversions, whatever. Yeah. So we're up by 2 scores. You don't think if we had that type of run and pound game, like we can ground and pound it? Now Deshaun Watson just doesn't have the opportunities like that. I'm not saying because last year Josh wasn't ready. Now let's say we get into we're in the playoffs and let's say we're up against a team that really does have great cornerbacks or great whatever, and they figure it out. Let's just say they figure it out, and we're up, but then we have to hold it. We don't. I just don't feel confident this year that we're able to play keep away. If we're going up against the Chiefs. I'm not confident that if Josh doesn't go touchdown for touchdown and we get the ball last and we get the last touchdown, I'm not confident that we'll be able to keep the ball away from him and maintain a lead. That's what I'm saying when you need a running game. I don't think the running game needs to be the focal point of the offense. Josh Allen is here, damn it. And I want him to stay there. Like, don't confuse what any of us are saying. We want Josh Allen to continue to be the MVP candidate. That dude is real. Like, he's the real deal. I just want a running back. So when things aren't right, we got something to fall back on. That's all.
I think that's right. And we can agree to disagree there because I think the 2 guys we have are exactly what we need going into the playoffs. We certainly could do better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're the most elite guys or whatever, but those 2 are capable of doing exactly what we need going into the playoffs. They are not holding this team back.
Right, they answer the call. Right, when their numbers are called, they answer. And we don't know yet is the real answer to this because we haven't played a playoff game yet. But we're going to find out when it's freezing cold in Buffalo in a couple weeks. We'll see. If they get 30 carries a game between Moss and Singletary, we'll know, are they going to average 4.5 yards a carry? Are they going to control the game?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to try passing the ball late when they don't have to? The answers will be there. And then we'll have Jspence back on the show and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's get it.
Yes, they are.
What you got?
Oh, I'm just responding to some fans in the chat there. Look, you can come in here and debate and have fun, but if you talk shit, your ass is out. So you don't have to watch the show if you want to talk shit. Okay, like I don't. 2020's been hard enough for every fucking body. Like
we're the only ones who get to talk shit.
Get out if you're gonna talk shit. Okay, look, debates are fun. Nobody's wrong. This is why it's fun. Okay.
Oh no. Anthony's wrong.
Anthony's wrong. But there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. This is just opinion based. That's all it is. But hey, listen, guys. Thank you for doing all this, man. They do stink, but ain't nobody care. You ain't got to smell them either. Hey, but this is the Hoof Live. This has been one of my favorite shows just because it's been so heated and fun. Spence, my guy, thank you for coming on the show, man. You are definitely always welcome to chop it up with us. It's always good to have you on. And before we even leave,
nice shirt, by the way. Nice shirt.
Thank you. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Before
MVP.
Tell everyone how they can keep up with you and what you got going on and anything new coming down the pipe for you. Why don't you go ahead and let us know?
Well, over at Buffalo Rumblings, I have the Code of Conduct that comes out every Tuesday. I've been having some fun with that, man, and I feel like I'm kind of hitting a stride, and it sucks that the season is ending. Like it feels like, it just feels good, but the content has been good. I got some good guests coming up in the off season. Then on Sundays, I didn't do one this week. It was just a weird week for me, but we got the chop up that I normally do with Mookie Hawkins from WUFO. I'm not sure exactly if he's going to continue with me because he has other obligations. Now he does another show on Sunday nights as well. So we're going to work out some scheduling things. But, my man Mookie over at WFO is with me with that as of right now. And so check us out, man. I just be having some fun. And on Twitter, Jspence the King, like you see on the tag here.
Anybody who's not listening to the Code of Conduct, you got it. It's a must. It's absolutely on my must.
Absolutely.
Truly. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great interviews. Yeah. True praise. It's up there with all the other top Bills content.
Absolutely. So we appreciate your time tonight, man. Anthony, you did a fantastic job. Thank you for always bringing that fire. Eric, you're always the voice of reason.
I feel like all four of us fit into a Slim Jim tonight, didn't we?
That's what it's about. Right?
I was gonna get a Snickers.
And we didn't disrespect each other. We all love each other. We already know how we go. So this is fun, man. So anyway, man, thank you guys for watching and giving us your input. Sorry, I didn't put as many comments in on the screen and talk about those as we usually do. We were just kind of in the zone with this conversation. So by all means, if you want to chop it up with us more on this topic on Twitter or whatever, or you want to, just kind of, I don't care, but you're more than welcome to do that. We can take this conversation on. Like I said, there is no right or wrong answer. But anyway, man, thank you for watching the Hoof Live, and we out of here.
Yeah.
Go Bills.
Ooh.